everybody. Today I was just doing some odds and ends here. Harvesting garlic is one of them. It's super windy. It wasn't when I decided I was going to come out here and start doing this. But I wanted to show you something that the reason why I'm pulling my garlic. It is a little bit early here for me to be pulling it where I am. Up here in northern Alberta, usually we have another 2 weeks. I think on a regular year, I think that's about par. Not so much now. We had a really late spring, and I'm noticing that I needed to get some of it out of the ground, and I'll show you why. So this is the garlic I just pulled, and it's been really rainy, so it's not exactly the cleanest, but I should be able to sort of dust them off. But I wanted to show you why I decided to pull them early, even though a lot of them, like, they're just starting to die back. But this right here is why. So it's separating, and it's trying to grow more garlics, and I'm noticing it happened on a few of them really early, which is odd. So that was why I decided, but it was a good harvest. I lost about half of them to the chickens scratching them up, and I did notice that I found a lot of scapes that I missed the first time around. So I'm gonna let these dry and cure, and then I will braid some of them and put the rest into storage. I did want to show you something that I'm really excited about because I've never grown one before. And if you remember, we did a winter sowing project where I put some seeds into some juice jugs, and I just put them outside and I didn't do anything with them, and some sprouted, and one of the seeds was it was the Camelot foxglove. And I made a mistake because it said that even though they were pelleted seeds, the packet said that they didn't get buried, that they were just a surface sow. And I made a mistake in burying them, assuming that because they were like pelleted, that they should go in the ground, and I wasn't reading the instructions. Anyway, I had 2 germinate. I planted them and they're blooming right now, and I want to show you them. So these are them. These are first year bloomers. Aren't they stunning? They're really pretty. I only got this color, and that's okay. I just love the way they look. Also, what's blooming is the hollyhock. I planted these out here this spring. They're a double hollyhock, so I'm really excited to see how that will fill in. I've been harvesting the larkspur. In fact, I had just cut this all back and I just did a delivery. So larkspur is definitely very productive and liking it here. There's been quite a few changes that have happened here the last little bit. One of the things that happened is I broke my toe. This, if you don't like graphic things, don't look at this. And that was a couple days ago, and it's very painful, but I've been trying to get as much done as I can. I will show you some of the stuff that's blooming in the garden here quickly, and then I'll take you inside and show you what I did get done in the greenhouse. I had some help with Chaz, and so I'm really looking forward to show you what's going on in there and all the exciting stuff. So I'm gonna flip this around and show you what's going on outside. This is the Lizianthus that we planted really, really early, and as you can see, we're getting some buds. This one's opening up. So pretty happy with that. I think there's not a lot of difference, maybe a week or so between outside and inside. And again, I apologize for the wind. I'm having a struggle here with the zinnias, and I knew better than to plant them here because there's such a weed pressure with quackgrass. And so I pinched them back, and I pinched them back and pinched them back, and they're just so small. But we have some starting to bloom. Some of them are super short. There's more there. And then the amaranth I've been harvesting and taking to the florist. There's a few things over there too. The bunny tails looks great. There's some really fun. This is an aster. Bunny tails. Some more of the white light is coming into bloom again. And I've been letting some of these volunteers just go so we can feed our pollinators. I'm loving having the variation of colors with these volunteer sunflowers that I left in the garden. I'm really enjoying that. Some of the verbena outside is blooming, which is good because I ripped it out in the inside the greenhouse. So I'm happy with that. Sunflowers are doing much better. These guys, I got a phlox growing. The problem of it is, it's only that big. This one was a free gift that I got from Baker Creek. There's a Gadacia Mully. I have some Dara outside that is beginning to bloom. So hopefully we'll get some nice height and some stems so I can start cutting out here. But these sunflowers are so cheery. Very lovely. More of the orange over here. Picture perfect orange. These are just the Pro Cut orange. And then there's a mix over here. These are Pro Cut Gold Light. And there's the odd white one tucked in here as well. They're starting to open. I made an arrangement for my mom. It's her birthday. And I just gave it to her today, actually. This is what I made with one of these, and I just love it so much. I'm not a designer, but I had fun making it for her. My basil made a little bit of a comeback here, so I'm hoping we're gonna get some height, and I can use them. And then, yeah, see this basil? It's starting to flower. And then the cosmos are starting to get some height, which is great for filler for the florists. All the sunflowers. I've been cutting a lot. This is some more zinnias. I don't know how we're gonna do with zinnias out here, but we're trying. And yeah, these here, if you get an opportunity to grow these and you do arrangements, look for the Pro Cut Horizon. They face upwards like so. So they have a very, very, very stiff neck, right? Very stiff neck. They don't flop over and they face upwards. So they're really nice for putting on top of arrangements. And I used this in this arrangement as well this morning and I liked it. This is like not good. We don't want to see this on our cut flowers, but I like using that stuff. It's kind of funky. I still cut it and use it. And then the amaranth made a comeback. I'm cutting it and cutting it and cutting it, hoping that I can get rid of this hail damage and rid of the bug damage, but we're starting to get tails on the green tails, and it's starting to get seed heads on the coral fountain. And we're getting seed heads as well on these, but I cut them and I delivered them today. This is burgundy amaranth. I just really love the leaves of them. This one got chewed up by a grasshopper, but look at how pretty that is. I just love it. So I have those going and heavily pruning them. Baby's breath is sort of the annual baby's breath. The feverfew is kind of not really loving life very much. This is, gosh, what is this? This right here. Butterfly flower. It is Carmen Rose, and it's getting buds on it. And that one's an orange. The same thing, but orange. So I'll take you inside and show you what I've gotten done inside. And if it seems like I'm moving at a snail's pace, I am. So yesterday I was helping Tyson, or Tyson was helping me put horses in at night. And I went to crawl through the fence and I pushed on the barbed wire and then it broke and then it caught me. The barbs caught me and cut my hand. So I was bleeding and limping and I feel like a write-off. But I'll show you what we've done so far. My goal is to get the tables moved and weed whack under there, but we finally got this stuff all cleared off, just about everything put away. And I'm ripping out the greenhouse and replanting it. So we have all this junk picked up. The Lizianthus is doing well here. The dahlias are not doing really well in this trough, so I don't know what is going on. I think I got it too wet. But I've been harvesting the Lizianthus, so that's pretty fun. Nice and early. This is sunflowers and zinnias. I sowed some zinnias in here, and I planted some sunflowers that I had started in trays. This we laid cardboard down and we put shavings. There's hardwood shavings in here because we have mushrooms. Spores started outside, so I'm trying to encourage the mushroom spores to move into the greenhouse and start working on building a fungal presence inside for holding moisture and retaining moisture. So that's why we have this down here. I'm gonna put pots. So out there, I have a whole bunch of like those grow bags. Once we start getting cooler, because our nights have been around 15 degrees Celsius every night, I'm gonna start moving them in so that they can finish growing on in here, and I'll just put them there for ease of watering. And this is gonna carry through out the whole greenhouse to brighten it up, since I'm gonna be growing here till November. But the dahlias are doing okay. I have these cucumbers and melons. Now look at this melon. This is a Helona. This is a Helona Cantaloupe. You see it's starting to look like a cantaloupe. Isn't that cute? There's a couple of them growing. I think this one has a few. I don't know. There was some more pollinated. But I thought that was super cute. And then we have cucumbers growing in this pot. There's another one. They're doing well. Watermelons. But look at that one. There's a watermelon. These are black beauties, I believe. There's a whole bunch of them. This is also watermelon. And there's a little one started there. And there's watermelon in that. I can't reach it right now with where my foot is. So yeah, I was just at our farm store in a neighboring town, Peace River, and they built a brand new PV Mart. Now, PV Mart is what we have here. I don't know, it's probably everywhere, but PV Mart, Ace kind of thing, they're the same. I think Ace was bought out here anyway by PV Mart. So there's a lot of really good things there. So we went there to check it out, to see this new store. And while I was there, I seen they had planter pots 50% off. So I got 10 pots, these ones right here. I got 10 of them for $7.50 a piece, so $75. So I was really happy. They're all matching, and I'm gonna fill them and start sowing seeds so I can grow in here some food, some quick, fast growing food for our family and maximize my growing space inside the greenhouse. So in here I have Nigella planted right next to the Dara. So these are fillers that we're gonna be using into the fall. Here's a volunteer tomato from last year. So here I have the dahlias that some of them are rotting in the ground, so I don't know why. And then I have planted some white light sunflowers in between for fall harvest. Then here I have Amy and Orlea as to continue on with my fillers. This is straw flowers. I might just rip those out. They look awful. And then this is some status. And then over here I have verbena, which is a different type of verbena than I've been growing. Then over there it's a forget-me-not, but it's a rose color. My peppers are starting to do a little bit of growth. Happy cabbage still exists. I ripped a lot of this stuff out here. We don't need it. These sunflowers are gonna be going out. I never got around to it today or yesterday. And this stuff here, I might just let some of these go to seed pods, but I've been harvesting off of here quite heavily. This is gonna be lifted. Sorry about the sound. I'm gonna do a voiceover from here on forward. So this is Ranunculus. I will be lifting the corms and storing them over for next year. Over here I have some sunballs and some status. This is white status. I've been harvesting a lot of this for weddings this year. Feverfew, Godacia, and Zinnias, as well as Cosmos, were along that one side, and then this back section will be planted. And these are Lizianthus. They're blooming. I will be cutting these as soon as they open. I will be cutting them completely down and replanting that whole area. And then my peppers are finally growing. So we've been having cold nights. We had a week where it was getting down to 8 degrees Celsius. And so they were really slow because it was quite cool at night in the greenhouse. I don't have heat on in there. And I had it open and venting. So it was my error. But we do have some nice peppers. I actually been harvesting off of them, which makes me really happy. It's a jungle. I have a lot of tomatoes and I just haven't had time to deal with them. The celery is thick. I need to start harvesting it so I can begin freeze drying and preserving it for the winter. And same as the tomatoes, I need to get in the kitchen and get these sunflowers have to go too. We need more room. The eggplants are doing okay over here, and the cabbage is doing really well. There's a little pepper plant here. I completely forgot I planted it here, and it's producing. It's not producing a lot, but it's been producing, and I've been harvesting. This cabbage is getting big, very big. Still happy. More peppers by Molly here. Tomatoes for days and celery. There is so much celery. This is the best celery year I've ever had. The whole entire 60-foot side of the greenhouse, well, not entirely, it's probably about 40 feet of the greenhouse is planted in celery and densely planted, I might add. The onions, there's hundreds of onions planted in between anywhere I could along that row. But the tomatoes, they look amazing. They really are doing well. These bell peppers are called Snowball. I learned about them from Ian and Serena from You Can't Eat the Grass. They're another Canadian YouTube flower farm. And so I'm really excited to try these ones. Behind them, I have tomatillos and ground cherries planted. Right here behind me, we had brassicas. Underneath the brassicas, such as the broccoli and the cauliflower and the cabbage, I was growing two other fast-growing cool season crops, which was kohlrabi and it was bok choy. And I harvested the bok choy first, then we harvested the kohlrabi, then we harvested the broccoli, then we harvested the cabbages, and then we harvested the cauliflower. So we've had lots grow in this certain middle section, which I preserve for the winter for my family, just by freezing or freeze drying. And then I planted dahlias and hibiscus for my florist for the fall, like the late summer fall harvest for my flower farm. Also, I have peppers growing in there now. And I, in between, planted that with sunflowers, which will be sold as cut flowers, and the peppers I will be using to feed my family right up until freeze up. And whatever I have extra, I will be preserving. Along the side, very edge of the greenhouse, I planted celery and onions. And then I also planted kohlrabi. We harvested the kohlrabi, so now the onions and the celery have grown. And then along the side of the edge, I've been using the onions for fresh eating so that the celery had more space. Then I have the tomatoes, And so pretty much everything is harvested out of there. There's a few things left over. And then in this section where, right here, where there's this little pile of dirt right there, this was planted, if you recall, it looked like this. We had sunflowers and stock, which I harvested early spring. So out of this greenhouse, I've already produced $1,400 worth of cut flowers to date, plus I've preserved a ton of food, and I've grown a ton of food for my family for the year. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be replanting this with other things, and I'm going to be replanting this again. So I've rotated this crops in here multiple times. Same with along here. Over here we had verbena, and that was verbena, and then over there we had a bunch of, I can't remember what was over there, carnations, and a few other things were over there that I had harvested from. So all in all, I'm pretty excited how I'm learning how to grow in a greenhouse, and I'm looking forward to learning how to grow this fall and into the cooler temperatures. I just harvested this morning, and it looks like I need to come back and do it again. They're just producing like crazy. And I better get these harvested as well before it starts to rain. These peppers are just, I wish they would grow as good as the weeds do. We are not getting warm. We're just staying really cold. And we've been having, our average lately has been plus 8 degrees Celsius at night. And I'm a little concerned that these are not going to produce anything, considering we're already at August and just about, well, one day away from August. And they just don't want to do much. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to get very much out here. I'm grateful I planted some inside. And look at this. Blue status. I am so excited about that. These two are on the wrong side of the fence. Better catch them. I'm really happy with how this white sage is growing here, and this lavender. This lavender was the stuff I accidentally ripped out. I planted it last year and it overwintered, which I did not know lavender could overwinter in zone 2, and it can. So I'm really happy. I hope it lives in this spot. There still is no glads, but we have these budding up here for the Lizzies, which cannot wait. They're all white ones, and then I cannot wait. Oh my goodness, you guys, look. Look. Wow, won't be long. How exciting. Any beans yet? Thank you. Share these with Tyson. Are they?
Yeah.
You watch. Huh? So I'm going to use my grow shelves to dry this garlic in my farm office. I am not going to wash it. I'll show you. We're just leaving it. So you know, in case you're new to storing garlic or getting garlic cured, you want to check. First thing you want to do is when you bring it in, you want to check and make sure that there's no maggots or larvae crawling around in your roots, because you don't want those to spread throughout your other garlic. And you want just to store good, healthy garlic that isn't going to be infested with any bugs, especially if you're going to keep any for seed for the following year. So I like to just inspect it. And I do generally knock all of the dirt off as much as I can outside, but it's going to start raining, and I wanted to make sure that the garlic stays very, very dry. That's why I harvested it today instead of giving it another day to dry, because we're forecasted to have rain all week. So today was my one shot. So that's one of the things that I will do. And I do not wash it. I leave it dirty. And once it's all dry and cured, then a person can wipe it off, just dry, and it will have a nice papery outside that could essentially, if you really didn't want to store dirt in your home, you could peel it off on the outside and just leave the cloves if you wanted to, but then it wouldn't store very well. Garlic is meant to have a protection around it, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put cardboard on my office is so dirty. Don't judge me. My farm office is a disaster. But I'm going to put cardboard on each shelf, and then I'll just lay these out with the greens on them. So that's the garlic harvest. It will stay here to cure probably for a few weeks. By the time I'm done, maybe a little longer. We'll see. We'll see when I get it dealt with. I didn't sort the soft neck and the hard neck varieties. I just put them all in here. I did pull out a couple. So something to look at is if they have any give. Like this one seems soft, like not soft as in like it's mushy, but it's not like very, very firm. All of these other ones here, like this one here, when you push on it, it's almost like pushing on a rock. Like it's like a wall. It's solid. There's no give back. Like it's just very, very solid. So these ones are good, and I don't need to worry about them. I will just let them cure and do their thing. And then I will go through them again just to make sure when I'm ready to braid or store them in baskets. These guys, I'm going to use them up if I can. This one here, it was one that broke off in the ground because it started to separate. So I'm going to use this up in the house. I'm going to take it in and clean it up. Same with this one. We'll use this one in the next couple days. And if these ones are salvageable, I will use them. And then while I was digging out the garlic, I found onions that were left in the ground last year. And so bonus. And then I have a couple that broke off that I'm going to take in and use up. And then there's the scapes that I had missed the first time around. So the 3 shelves, this one, that one, and then down on the floor, I'm going to save those for onions. I have a ton of onions to harvest, and that's going to be starting here this week. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the garlic. I would have loved to have done a comparison on the different varieties, but I can't give an honest answer because we had some issues with our garlic because of chickens and dogs and cats. So I can't give the varieties a fair shake and honest answer because we had other factors that contributed to how much we actually were able to harvest. But all in all, I'm okay with that. It's probably not enough for us for winter, but it'll be a good chunk of it. So I'm really happy with that. So now the next phase of the farm is, and the flower farm, and for what I'm doing is I am trying to limp my way through getting stuff done. And I'm going through my seeds and replanting the greenhouse. And I am just harvesting and selling flowers and doing as much food preservation as I can. So it's just picking away at it day by day. I'm not pushing myself too hard. Clearly, I need a break. There's a lesson in, having an injury to a pinky toe and a pinky finger within 48 hours of each other. There's a lesson in that, and I'm gonna listen. So I think I do need to slow down and just make some time for doing other things. Perhaps work. I've taken on too much this year. It was a little bit too ambitious for what I actually have time to do. And that's a lesson in learning. So I'm just winging it, and we're gonna go from there. But as for right now, the garlic, I'm really happy with that. Next will be the onions and preserving those for the winter by getting them cured for winter storage. And then I'm gonna start doing some freeze drying. Anything in this garlic that's not gonna keep, I'm going to freeze dry it and make garlic powder. Gotta cure the garlic. No light. While I'm over here, I wanted to show you guys the potatoes are doing really, really well. I'm gonna actually try robbing some for supper. This one's dead, so I'm gonna pull it up, see why it's dead. And I think it may be because something was digging in here. They're rotten. This one's good. I think it was a dog digging in here. It started to die back way sooner. Anyway, I fertilized the corn, and but it looks so much better. There's still some that have the, see it tesseled, and look, we have corn. So we want these to fall onto that. And did you know, oh, this is fuzzy corn. Did you know that if it's too dry, the corn will be shoddy germination? I learned that from the Veggie Boys. Andrew's awesome. He educates us so well. So yeah, I'm just kind of making sure that when we knock them together, they fall down into there. And that's how they pollinate. That's how you make corn babies. There's your education for the day. If you didn't know, lots of people don't. I'm actually very surprised. Anyways, in a previous video I'd shown, it looked more like this. Like these ones still have it, but all of the corn had this outside, it almost looks like a burn or a deficiency of some sort, and it was all doing that. And a few of them still do on the tips, but it looks much better and it's tesseled up. I'm really thinking that's what it was it was lacking fertilizer. So this stuff here is definitely leap years ahead of this other corn. This stuff here was started, I planted it out 2 weeks before our last frost date, I started the seeds 2 weeks before our last frost date, which was, our last frost date is the 25th or 26th of May. So 2 weeks before that. And I sowed it inside, and then I transplanted them out. This is my Fair Lady corn. It's a really, really rapid variety of corn This one here is called Bodacious, which I grew last year and I had a beautiful harvest. And then this one here is Allure, and it's actually being the slowest. I thought it was going to be ahead of the Bodacious, but it's slower. It's just not catching up the same. So I fertilized all of them, but it is much, much slower than these guys. These guys are not really getting, they're not as far along in their development as the My Fair Lady. So I'm assuming we'll have that first, this second, and then this one third, which this Allure stores really well. So I'm really happy with it. And look at it, it's really healthy. It's just slow. It's just much slower. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm going to go in and I'm going to put my foot up and I'm going to have a glass of water. And I'm probably going to watch a YouTube video. And then I'm gonna come back out and get back to work. So thank you guys for hanging out with me and seeing what's going on here in Northern Alberta on the Hotchkiss Flower Farm. I appreciate you stopping in and watching this video. Bye for now. We'll see you next time. Take care.